Hey guys, Drifter here. The subject of today's video is one that I still struggle to believe, even though I've seen the news articles myself. Apparently, Call of Duty is taking a gap year. You heard that correct. Call of Duty is taking a break and they are not releasing a new game in 2023, which, since we all know time stopped in 2019, that is next year. This year in 2022, supposedly Modern Warfare 2 is set to be released, but then what would be Treyarch's next turn in 2023 is getting bumped all the way out to 2024, which is just insanity. This will be the first time in 20 years that Call of Duty has not had an annual release. They're planning a new free-to-play title. There's a lot to jump into today, but before we do, I wanted to talk about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Gamer Advantage. Gamer Advantage makes the best gaming glasses on the planet. They're one of my best sponsors, and they've stuck with me through these challenging times in my near inability to make videos, so God bless them. And their new frames that they just launched, which are called the suppressor frames, have even less color distortion, and because of just how they work, it actually works better with prescriptions. I've liked mine so much, I've just generally started wearing them around the house or when I'm driving. I don't even have bad vision, but just that little bit of correction is godly. If you want to pick up Gamer Advantage glasses for yourself, they're available with the link down there in the description, and you can use code DRIFTER to save yourself 10% off. Thank you for supporting me, and I'm going to keep these bad girls on for the rest of the video because all of these studio lights are like blasting me here. So back to Call of Duty news. I almost couldn't believe that Call of Duty was skipping a year because this entire brand for the last 2 decades has survived on hype. There were entire sub-industries for getting Call of Duty early, for getting stats like what I do, for continually hyping the next video, which game, which tons and tons of people are going to do. And it just seems maddening that they would take a break because despite having many failures in a row, they seemed committed to pushing forward no matter what. But I think Call of Duty Vanguard was the straw that broke the camel's back. Vanguard apparently underperformed significantly, and I don't know if Sledgehammer is getting blamed or the development cycle or coronavirus or whatever, but we also know that Black Ops Cold War underperformed significantly. Modern Warfare was just a huge blowout hit. But the Call of Duties before that, like Blops 4 and Infinite Warfare and World War II and all these kind of games, they also struggled a lot. So in the last 5 or 6 years, the only standout real big moneymaker that Call of Duty has churned out is Call of Duty Modern Warfare and thus Warzone. Apparently, it took nearly half of a decade for executives at Activision to get the idea that maybe their studios were behind or maybe the product was fundamentally flawed to the point where they are given a little breather, a little break. Thank God, and I think that this is really good news. I know some of you might be stressed out, you might say this is the end, COD's dying. I think this is just godly. Call of Duty has needed a gap year, or maybe has been needing multiple gap years for the last forever since I've been doing in-depth, right? The engine is spaghetti code that runs on older and older and older engines, and that's one of the reasons Modern Warfare was so successful, is they had the extra time to put into overhauling the engine to make it better. They're moving toward a more unified engine now that Warzone is in place, but all the studios are still kind of doing plug and play and trying to make the assets match, and it doesn't quite work. The Call of Duty engine, even the Modern Warfare one, even the updated ones, it's still far behind other game engines. It still struggles, it's still frankencode, it doesn't have a good working API for stat tracking, it has weird networking, it has weird frame rounding and frame counting, and it does so many things that need to be modernized. I genuinely believe that if they took 1 year, and I've been saying this for the last 10 years, that they need to go the Battlefield way and space this out, and they need to take a year to modernize the game engine, to standardize the engine that they're working on to get the studios cooperating a little bit better so that instead of fighting every single year to make your technology viable, they can instead just focus on making good gameplay again, which is what Call of Duty's been missing for a minute now. On top of all of that, fans clearly need a break from the never-ending breakneck hype cycle. Ever since they started competing with Fortnite, not only was it yearly releases, but near weekly or bi-weekly content updates of some kind. As a guy who's had some problems and had to step away from the scene a little bit, looking back in, I can see how maddening it must be because every couple of days I look up and there's just totally new COD stuff going on. People have limits. Their dopamine levels can only be pumped so much. They're gonna get fatigued, so this is nice. And on a different note, I know a lot of developers that would like to see their families again. I know a lot of developers that wouldn't want to sleep in the office, that would like to see their children be born, that would like to be able to go home and live a life. And with a gap year, they might get a little bit of that. They might be able to come back to work like less depressed and more happy and more willing to work on things, which would inevitably lead to better products. I'm totally on board with this idea. I am super happy to hear that Call of Duty is taking a gap year, and I'm expecting Treyarch to drop an absolute banger in 2024 with that additional gap year. I'm talking like tons of multiplayer maps, Blackout 2, launching with like 4 zombies maps, like 2 new ones and 2 classic remakes with new Easter eggs, that kind of fun stuff like Blops 3 did. That's what I'm really hoping for. But it's not an entirely gapped year. Apparently in 2023, to hold people over, Call of Duty as a brand, and Activision thus, is planning to release a new free-to-play title. And you would say, well, Warzone is out, so it's a new map, right? It's a new Warzone mode. But according to the article and all of the early information, they're making a new free-to-play Call of Duty that isn't Warzone. So you'll have free-to-play CoD Warzone and then free-to-play something else. I'm kind of hoping multiplayer, maybe CoD Online. I'm kind of suspicious they're going to do a big CoD mobile revamp or a CoD crossplay that includes mobile. Maybe even just Blackout 2. That would be super fun. I miss Blackout. So they're still working on things. They're still developing things. I almost kind of don't want the free-to-play to come out. I feel like the game should have one free-to-play being Warzone, and the gap year should be a true gap. But what do I know? I'm not an executive. I'm just the guy who's played this game for like 20 years. There's not much less to overanalyze here. I just almost can't believe it. I'm recording this video with no script, with no preparation, with no nothing. I was just eating my lunch when this news rolled in and it just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. But I'm excited, but excited in a good way. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And of course, be sure to check out Gamer Advantage glasses down there in the description below to support me. They're a lovely company, lovely people, even better product, honestly. And they've been good to me, so please be good to them. Drifter out.